No, a week or two, maybe.
You're ready.
Ready? Okay. Welcome to the Village of Peoria Heights public hearing meeting regarding our operations budget for fiscal year 2017 through 2018. Meeting is now called to order. Would you please rise and join us in the pledge of the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn. Trustee Carter.
Present.
Trustee Mariscal.
Present.
Trustee Cumming. Trustee Reichert.
Present.
Trustee Fuller.
Okay, thank you very much. In the review of our operations budget, we always have a presentation from the Peoria Heights Public Library, and Sean Edwards is the director. Mr. Edwards, do you have a few pearls and words of wisdom for the board tonight?
Sure. I'll pull out my documentation here. I just want to thank the mayor and the trustees and the administration of the village for allowing me to speak for a few seconds here. The library budget this year, I guess I just wanted to say a few things about what kind of monies we have available. State-wise, the state budget, of course, is gridlocked again, and fortunately that doesn't have a whole lot of impact on the library. What we get from grants is very minimal, which is not fortunate, but I guess in the overall budget, we're doing very well, just thanks to the businesses and residents in the village of Peoria Heights contributing through their property taxes. So I'm very grateful. The library board is very grateful for the village's support there. We are able to save money in a lot of ways and have been in the last few years. Notably, the FCC's E-rate program allows us to get a 90% discount on our telecommunications, which is a huge amount of money for us. And we're putting a lot of that money back into the library by strengthening our wireless capabilities. We're buying some new hardware to upgrade our network, some new cabling, things like that. So I'm hoping that we can expand our wireless capability within the building, strengthen it into the meeting room, which is kind of sparse right now. In the next year, well, in the next few months, we'll be doing some things like that. Last year, we also upgraded our PCs for the public to a cloud-based system, which saved us a lot of money on buying new Windows PCs, saved us a lot of money there. We have reassessed our insurance coverage for our property and for our health insurance, and we save probably several $100s a month in doing that. And that allows us to put money back into the library in terms of materials. We are at the point now where we can actually fulfill the state library's mandate of providing 12% of our budget toward materials. We're actually a little bit beyond that this year, and we're able to buy a lot more books and DVDs, audiobooks, things like that. We also, as you know, the board adopted a policy last year creating a fine-free policy on overdue fines, which I explained that last year, but I don't think I really explained the impact of that, which is the fines and the revenue that we get from fines is very minimal. It's always been under 1% of our budget is what we actually generate in fining people a dime or a nickel or something for an overdue. But we have really, in terms of revenue, we've seen very little loss in terms of revenue. And I think anything that we've generated in terms of goodwill has been much greater. And we've been able to get a lot more donations, I think, this year. We get money, probably make up for that revenue loss in terms of book sale, meeting room rental, donations. We have a lot more donations this year. So I think we're doing really well in that term. I think the policy has really been to the advantage of our patrons. They seem to really appreciate the fact that they don't have to worry about bringing their books back right today or being fined, So it's a nice policy. And in looking forward, the next year, we do have some major expenditures. We're looking at the parking lot we have yet to finish. It got a little cold before we could finish the asphalting last year. That's going to be finished as soon as it warms up. And then we're looking at possible major expenditure on replacing some HVAC equipment, some furnaces that are wearing out, cracking, and that nature. So not entirely sure what in terms of budget we're looking at, but it's probably several tens of thousands of dollars. So, programming-wise, we have a number of children's programs that I'd like to highlight that are coming up here in the next few months. Namely, this weekend, we have the third year of our Baby Palooza, which is an infant and early childhood resource and education fair. And that's been very well attended. It's very well advertised, and I expect that we'll have a very full parking lot this Saturday. And that, in addition, we have the third year of the garden program, which is expanding this year a little bit. We're going to focus on pollinators, namely bees and butterflies, things like that. The tentative title of the program is Flutter and Buzz, Defenders of Nature. So if you've got any kids that are interested in pollinators, and namely bees and hives and things like that, we think it's going to be a good program. We currently have a makerspace program for children aged 7 to 14. We're about halfway through it. It's very STEAM-oriented, which is it's STEM, science, technology, education, engineering, and math with the addition of art, so it creates STEAM. We're about halfway through that, so if you have kids that are interested in increasing their proficiency in arts and engineering, things like that, it's a good program. That also extends into the summer reading program in June, which has a STEAM orientation as well. The official title is Reading by Design, which is going to allow us to do a lot of programming in the STEAM vein as well. We have a lot of weekly programming, a lot of design labs for kids from kindergarten through grade 12. Every week, we have a lot of presenters, performers, things like that every week, so it should be good. But that's about all I had to say, just a few little highlights. If you have any questions, let me know. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks to all the members of the library board for everyone doing an outstanding job over there. It's a very viable part of the village and do a wonderful job. Appreciate it. Regarding an overview of the budget, to be honest with you, it's a lean and mean budget. Very little, if any, fluff, and I'm not saying that we ever had any in the past, but it's very much geared towards trying to live within our means, within the revenues that we're projecting to have, and we're probably a little conservative on the revenues, but in this case, it's better to be conservative than to be over the top on it. And I think the focus of the budget for the coming year is just to maintain our services, which are excellent, and to improve where we can. So I think at this time, I would believe that by the time the new mayor and the new board visits the budget for next year, I think we'll be looking at pretty close to a balanced budget for this year, even though right now it's not projected as such, but I believe that all signs would point to, if you look at our history, that we will be very near a balanced budget and should have hopefully around, $900,000 or thereabouts in the general fund at that time. Mr. Administrator, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, without going into a lot of numbers. So this upcoming fiscal year, we do have in a budget money for some contractors to do some demolition work for us. We received a grant from HUD to help with abandoned properties, so that money can be used to clean up and secure or demolish abandoned properties. So that was a good pickup. Again, the budget includes the village paying for garbage and recycling. That is about 12 to 13% of our overall budget. It's a very large expense, but that's something that's been a priority to the board, and we've maintained that throughout the years. We'll continue to have marketing, and we'll continue to fund the chamber, although to not the same degree as we did last year, but we'll continue that as well. One thing, the TIF, all the TIF activity that we've done, started to stabilize itself to where in years prior we've had to kind of borrow from the general fund to offset some of the expenditures for the TIF. This next year we're projecting that they'll all be self-sustaining, so all the money we need for consultants or legal fees or advertising, those types of things, that'll all be paid for within the TIF itself. We will, again, give all of our property tax in excess of we've got a fixed amount that we retain for property tax and put in the general fund. It's about 25% of what we actually take in. So then every year we give the balance plus whatever new increase we get to the police pension fund. So that's about $310,000 this year. So, like Mr. Allen, Mayor Allen indicated, we're continuing on with what we've done in the past. I know our Public Works Department, not to put Director Smith in the hot seat here, has some projects, as well as the Water Department. That'll be the bulk of the activity we'll see coming out of his department next year. Is there anything you'd like to highlight?
Well, I think, again, I mean, we're gonna stay fairly quiet on the street side and do what we can just to maintain what we already have. On the water side of things, that's where it gets a little bit more exciting. If you all will recall, a few months ago, you approved to go out for a $1.5 million loan. The majority of that will be spent down this summer, refurbishing all 3 of our water towers, essentially back to a new condition, and probably even better since they were built in the 70s and there's new paint materials available nowadays. So those are going to be 3, I would say, fairly good-sized projects for a village of this size this summer, and I think it shows good thought and foresight on the part of the board to undertake said projects, realizing that the water department is one of our most important assets. So, but again, to echo Mr. Mayor's sentiment, we're essentially, aside from those large-scale projects, we're just trying to maintain with what we currently have, which I think is a very high standard, especially for our water department.
Chief, do you have anything you want to add regarding the budget? I know it's pretty much cut to the bone, lean and mean.
Well, as you know, most of our budget is personnel, so I would just say I would thank the board and the mayor for, maintaining the level of service that we currently have, the number of officers that we've added. So I think that's the majority of our budget is just to maintain, that number of personnel. As far as big projects, keeping crime down is our big project. So I think that's our approach. It's always been our approach. So that's really all I have about the budget.
Okay. Thank you. And Trustee Reichert, don't want to put you on the spot, but was there anything regarding the fire department's budget that you wanted to pass on? Or are you looking forward in terms of equipment?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
No, I'm good.
All right, then we will ask, are there any comments from the audience? I know Anna Lockhart is just dying to get up here and say something. No comments from the audience? All right. Well, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Is there anything else to be added before we adjourn from the board? Okay, at this time, I need a motion for adjournment, please.
Move to adjourn.
I have a motion from Trustee Reichert.
Second.
Second from Trustee Marscal. All those in favor of adjourning the public hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The ayes have it. And just to let everyone know, the regular Board of Trustees meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. sharp. So at this time, meeting is now adjourned, and we hope everyone, hey, welcome to the Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 Village of Peoria Heights Board of Trustees meeting. Meeting is now called to order. Would you please rise and join us in the pledge of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn.
Present.
Trustee Carter.
Present.
Trustee Mariscal.
Present.
Trustee Cumming. Trustee Reichert.
Present.
Trustee Fuller.
All right, thank you very much. Our first order of business tonight is the approval of the Board of Trustees minutes for March 21st. Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
We have a motion from Trustee Reichert.
Second.
Second from Trustee Mariscal. All those in favor of approving the Board of Trustees minutes for March 21st, 2017 as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The ayes have it, and the board has approved the Board of Trustees minutes for March 21st. Next order of business tonight is correspondence, and that will be presented by our village clerk, Shauna Musselman.
I have no correspondence.
All right, thank you very much. No announcements that I can think of right now, so we're going to move to trustee reports, and first will be economic development, village improvements with Trustee Carter.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
All righty, thank you. Trustee Fuller could not be here tonight. Chief, any recent news on the police department?
Oh, nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll go to building and property maintenance with Trustee Mariscal.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the fire department with Trustee Reichert.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
All right, thank you. Go to public works with Trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I'm going to give our hydrant flushing announcement. We'll be flushing hydrants on April 17th. I'll just read it real quick. People can call the village if they want to know when we'll be flushing. Oh, today's...
That's just the date that she's releasing that to the news media.
Oh, okay. I guess I should have read it closer. So anyway, this whole week, starting April 24th through the 28th, they'll be flushing hydrants. On April 24th, they'll be flushing hydrants north of Cyberling and west of Prospect. On April 25th, east of Prospect from Glen to Voss, including Grandview. On April 26th, Galena area below the Bluff. April 27th, west from Prospect from Hines to Toledo. April 28th, south of Hines, west of Prospect. The thing to do is, if you're worried about doing laundry or something and getting whites discolored, which can happen when the hydrants are being flushed because you're actually washing all the dirt that kind of lays in the bottom of the mains. So once or twice a year, we'll go in and open up all the hydrants and flush all that dirt out. If you're worried about getting that dirt in your lines in your house or anything like that, you should call the village at 686-2375 and find out when the hydrants will be flushed in your area. And by simply not using the water at that time, you won't get any of that sediment in your lines. So anyway, that's all I have for that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions at all for Trustee Harn? All right, thank you again. Trustee Cumming could not be here tonight. Mr. Administrator, anything on the administration personnel front?
Nothing tonight, Mayor Allen.
All righty, thank you very much. Comments from the audience? None? Come on, Bob. Something? Jen? She's hiding behind the tripod. Okay, no. Okay, well, we do thank everyone for attending. No old business tonight, so we'll go immediately to new business. First will be ordinance 2017-1501. And Mr. Administrator, I believe you have some worthwhile information for us.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Ordinance 2017-1501 is an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a TIF district redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Peoria Heights and 4426 Prospect LLC, located in TIF District 1. This is the property known as the Gray Boy Building. We've executed a sales contract, if people recall that. That's been, I think that was in a couple months ago, if I recall. And that was contingent upon execution of a redevelopment agreement. So at this time, the redevelopment agreement is being brought forward for the village to act on. If it's approved and executed, it'll be given to the purchaser for their execution, and then that would start the clock. There's a 90-day time frame for them to secure financing, which is spelled out in the redevelopment agreement. If they get the finance within that 90 days, then we would have a closing on the property, and they would be the proud owners of the former Gray Boy building. If there's any questions?
So if they don't secure the financing,
If they don't secure the financing, we retain possession. There will be no money that changes hands or anything to rebate or anything.
Any other questions for Mr. Administrator? Okay, we need a motion for approval, please.
I make the motion to approve ordinance 2017-1501.
Have a motion from trustee Reichert,
Second.
second from trustee Harn. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of ordinance 2017-1501 as outlined by Administrator Fick. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Trustee Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
Did you forget somebody?
Oh, Mayor Allen. Sorry, I'm not used to having to call
I know,
you to
I
vote.
know. I just
And you
had-
even pointed out to me right before, sorry.
I guess I'll vote aye. Okay, by a vote of 5-0, the board has approved ordinance 2017-1501 as outlined by Administrator Fick. Our next order of new business tonight is ordinance 2017-1502. Chief, can you give us a background on this one, please?
Sure, Mayor. What I'm requesting is to amend ordinance 2017-1502, and what that does is it gives us more of a specific definition on the word rubbish, and I'm not going to go through all, but if you see on the back page, it outlines what rubbish includes, and the reason we're changing this, it gives our officers a little bit more. When it goes to court, what we're seeing is a lot of these cases are getting thrown out because there's no definition on what rubbish is. It's kind of broad, so this will kind of streamline that. I mean, we have a lot of cost involved, attorney's fees, man hours, and to have things thrown out like that, I think it's just a waste of money and still not taking care of the issue. So I think this will correct those problems and give the officers a little bit better direction when they're working their zones.
All right, great. Any questions at all for Chief? Okay, we need a motion for approval, please.
Make a motion.
Have a motion from trustee Carter,
Second.
second from trustee Mariscal. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of ordinance 2017-1502 as outlined by Chief Sutton. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Trustee Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
Thank you. By a vote of 4-0, the board has approved ordinance 2017-1502 as outlined by Chief Sutton. Next order of new business tonight is a motion to go out for bids for the parking lot improvements at 4414 North Prospect Road, and that will be presented by trustee Harn.
Unless I'm overlooking it, I don't have any paperwork on that.
No, it's just a voice motion to go out to bid.
Oh, okay. So just to see kind of what we're going to see.
Yeah, part of the redevelopment agreement was that we would put the parking lot in by the end of August. So we need to get the process started to bid it out and see what kind of pricing we're going to get on it and everything.
Okay.
So,
And the sooner that parking lot goes in, the sooner we have a prospect entrance directly into Trefsker's, and the sooner we have a public parking lot that Trefsker's overflow can take advantage of, and any other, hikers or something like that might be able to use as well. So sooner the better.
Yeah, I would say in time, people will be able to park in that parking lot and walk over to the trail. There will be trail access sooner or later in there. I mean, you would think Trefsker's eventually, when they start getting caught up with their bills and everything with all the new development, that eventually the landscaping will get done and they'll connect to the trail. And I'm sure that was part of the plan. Whenever you start doing a giant development, the first thing you cut when you start going over on different expenses is your landscaping, so.
And, right now, they'll have easy access just walking down Prospect. If you wanted to park there, just walk up the Prospect and walk down to the trail and hop on.
Yeah, you're absolutely
So
right.
what we're hoping for is that when they do put some access from Trefsker's, that people will go to Trefsker's first, eat a few things, walk the trail, get hungry again, eat a few more things. then decide to go north on the trail and come back and be hungry again and buy a few more things.
It's a good plan.
So it all comes into motion. Any other questions or comments? Need a motion for approval? I think we already got that, didn't we?
I don't know if I did or not. I'll make a motion to approve.
I don't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Have a
pay
motion from trustee Harn,
Second.
second from trustee Reichert. Apologize for that. My mind is, once you start talking about goodies and traffickers, my mind is just mush. Pretty close to that normally anyway. But Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Marisko?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 4-0, the board has approved the motion to go out for bids for the parking lot improvements at 4414 North Prospect Road. Next order of business tonight is ordinance 2017-1503. That will be presented by trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I'm making a motion to approve ordinance 2017-1503. This is an ordinance amending Title IX of the Village Code of the Village of Peoria Heights for the purpose of adding a new Chapter 7 establishing regulations for the purpose of controlling erosion, sediment, stormwater in conjunction with land disturbing activities. What this means is it's basically a copy of the Peoria County and Bartonville, we copied it pretty much from them, but Peoria County has a similar ordinance in effect where if you're planning on going in and disturbing more than 5,000 square feet, you have to come in and get a permit first. You'll draw a little plan showing what you're going to do to control the erosion from the site. And in the end, you'll either seed it, straw it, put rock down. You'll do something to keep the ground, the soil, the sediment on site. So it's like a $125 permit. It'll be, which we might adjust up or down. We'll talk about that later. But for now, I'd like to get ordinance 1503 passed, and we'll go from there.
Have a motion from trustee Harn,
Second.
second from trustee Carter. Any questions or comments from the board before the board votes? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of ordinance 2017-1503, as outlined by trustee Harn. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Marisko?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Thank you. By a vote of 4-0, the board has approved ordinance 2017-1503, as outlined by trustee Harn. Our next order of new business tonight is resolution 2017-04, and that will be presented by trustee Harn.
Okay, thank you again, Mayor Allen. This is basically a similar ordinance, only this is about stormwater control. This ordinance deals with the type of fluids and materials that you are trying to keep out of the storm drains. This basically, if you have a construction site going on, there's different little mats that you can lay over the